So, the title of this episode was Why Families Are Paying a Premium to Live in the Upper East Side. And I think the number one reason families are paying a premium to live in this neighborhood is because of this. The Upper East Side has always been one of the most iconic neighborhoods in New York City. From Gilded Age mansions to the new construction condos, the Upper East Side has always been about elegance. And in this video, we're going to talk about why families are paying a premium to live here. Let's go. My name is Chris Jordan. I'm a luxury real estate agent here in New York City. And today, I'm taking you on a tour with me to explore the Upper East Side. Let's check it out. To start off, let's talk about the geographic makeup of the Upper East Side. The Upper East Side runs from 59th Street to 96th Street in a stretch from Central Park to the East River. Now, if you watch my other videos, you know we kind of divided the neighborhoods up, so we're not going to do a whole downtown video. We kind of divided it up to Soho, Tribeca, I believe we did Chelsea, things of that nature. For this video, the Upper East Side is like its own little city, so we're going to talk about the Upper East Side as a whole. Now, the sub-neighborhoods in the Upper East Side, we'll start with Lenox Hill. Lenox Hill is almost like the downtown of Upper East Side. Lenox Hill is where you're gonna find the vibrancy. It's where you're gonna find the high-end shopping, the high-end dining. If you watch my Midtown East video, we kind of spoke about Lenox Hill briefly because Lenox Hill is closer to Midtown. So it's what makes the neighborhood feel like New York City. Now, if we move into Carnegie Hill is more residential. It's the buttoned up part. It's the button-up part of the Upper East Side. Now, that's where you're gonna find the brownstones, the townhouses. It's a lot more quieter than Lenox Hill. Then we have Yorkville. Yorkville is completely different than the previous two, in my opinion. I find Yorkville is where the young professionals are starting to live with families, especially because you got the 4 and 5 train on 86th Street. So if you work downtown, it's a quick ride from the train station. Yorkville is a little bit more of the casual part of the Upper East Side. With that being said, let's talk about the history of the Upper East Side, okay? Starting in the 1700s, the Upper East Side was really just country road for wealthy families. Now, as we move to the Gilded Age, the Upper East Side really started taking its shape because railroads made the neighborhood more accessible. So around that time, wealthy families like the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, the Astors, they started building palaces along Fifth Ave. Right? Now, as we make our way to the 20th century, obviously Fifth Ave became a popular landmark. It just didn't really make sense to have these palaces on that landmark. So the palaces got demolished, and that's where we started to get the pre-war co-ops we see today, the Park Ave apartments, things of that nature. And then obviously we're in the 21st century where we start to get the new development condos. But, you know, an interesting thing about the Upper East Side, even post-war and through the Great Depression, the Upper East Side was still able to keep that pre-war look. Next thing I want to talk about is the culture of the Upper East Side, because I think when I speak to people, a lot of what they describe to me as Upper East Side is just Carnegie Hill. And yes, the Upper East Side is quieter than downtown, but the Upper East Side has a lot of culture. You know, you got high-end shopping on Madison, you know, you got Chanel, Hermes, a lot of high-end shopping. You also have Museum Mile, where you have the Met, the Frick Madison. And then you have a lot of high-end dining. So while it is different than downtown, the Upper East Side has a lot of culture. But then you do have Carnegie Hill, where you have that pre-war suburban feel. So the title of this episode was Why Families Are Paying a Premium to Live in the Upper East Side. And I think the number one reason families are paying a premium to live in this neighborhood is because of the schools. The Upper East Side is home to some of the most prestigious private schools in the country. You know, you have Dalton, Spence, Chapin, Regis, Sacred Heart, just to name a few. You also have some well-accredited public schools like PS10 and Hunter College High School. So a lot of families do reside here for the schools, you know, and it may be changing due to the emergence of car service, right? Because I even know families that live downtown that send their kids to school in this neighborhood. But the convenience of the schools in the neighborhood with the Upper East Side definitely makes it a popular neighborhood. And you also have Central Park East entrance steps away. So the Upper East Side has a great deal of culture, and I think that get misconstrued sometimes. With that being said, I think with the culture we spoke about, with the education it provides, with Central Park at your doorstep, I think people buy in this neighborhood because they're very, very confident that their home is always going to hold value. The Upper East Side is always going to be a well-desired neighborhood. And with that being said, let's transition into the Upper East Side real estate. When it comes to real estate in the Upper East Side really have everything. You have the pre-war co-ops, the Park Ave apartments, you have the brownstones, and you got the new development condos. So whatever you're looking for, the Upper East Side has it. You know, when it comes to price, but it's going to be $2,000 to $3,000 a square foot. Some of the Park Ave apartments are running $5 million to $20 million. So it all varies, but the Upper East Side is definitely, I think, the Upper East Side is funny, right? The reason, and I'll end it with this, the reason the Upper East Side is funny because I think it's the last stop before people go to the suburbs. Either people are going to Greenwich or they're going to make it one last stop in New York City at the Upper East Side. You know, either Westchester or Upper East Side. So it's the last place before people make the move to the suburbs or instead of the suburbs. So with that being said, my name is Chris Jordan. I'm a luxury real estate agent here in New York City. And this is my episode on the Upper East Side. I try to make these episodes quick and to the point. Now, if you need any more information, I also have a buyer's guide that's always in my bios. And if you have any questions, any specific questions, you can always shoot me an email right here. And you guys have a great fourth quarter, and I'll see you on the next episode.